China's economic mess goes deep. Wooing foreign investors might not help beyond a point. Already, leading companies are under pressure. Look at what happened to the Volkswagen CEO. There was a shareholder meeting. Some activists turned up and they threw cake at the CEO.
Tortenwurf während der VW-Hauptversammlung.
What were these activists angry about? Volkswagen has a plant in Xinjiang, and the activists say the company uses forced Uyghur labor in Xinjiang. In fact, more companies are coming under pressure to move their business away from China, not just Xinjiang, but elsewhere too. They're decoupling from China. And China's economic situation is expected to accelerate this decoupling. The latest numbers are out, and they're not looking good. Production by factories has slowed in China, growth in sales is weak, and unemployment is rising. In the month of May, growth in the country's industrial output fell. In April, it expanded by 5.6%, but last month the growth was just 3.5%. Sales in the retail sector rose by 12.7%. The forecast, though, was more than 13%. So China has missed the growth target. Youth unemployment has crossed 20%, which is a record high. And this is not a temporary slump. There is a clear downward trend, one that cannot be reversed easily. Investors who were once bullish on China are having second thought. One of them is a man called Stanley Druckenmiller. He's one of the most successful hedge fund managers in the world. Before the pandemic, he was optimistic about China. Once he even described China as New York on crack. But now he has different thoughts. Let me tell you about his latest assessment on the Chinese economy, and I'm quoting, "Looking out 10 or 15 years, I just don't see it unless there's a change in power at the top. I think that's going to be a very undynamic economy." So this is a vote of no confidence, not just against the Chinese economy, but also against the Communist Party. And that's bad news for Xi Jinping. A strong economy sustains the Communist Party of China. Its legitimacy is tied to economic growth. As long as the people of China have economic security, they're less likely to question the party and its authority to rule the country. That is the unwritten contract, but it's now been appended. So there's discontent. People are unhappy about the lack of growth. Even Beijing's censors cannot hide this. Chinese factories are facing a surge in protests. As of May, at least 130 factory strikes were recorded in China. Workers went on protest. What were they angry about? The root cause is wages. They're not getting their money. Factory owners are unable to pay salaries. Either payments are delayed or workers are being laid off without any notice, without any severance pay. In some cases, workers were simply relocated. They were sent to remote areas. How does that help? Factory owners wanted these workers to leave. They didn't want to pay them, so they made their commute to work harder by forcing them to live in far-off places. It is cruel, but the factory owners themselves are helpless. They're not getting any new business. Recently, a survey was conducted. It was done by the government of China. Over 3,000 factories across the country were covered in this survey. They reported a decline in economic activity. They're getting fewer new orders. And this is an alarming situation because factories are the backbone of the Chinese economy. China was once called the workshop of the world. Now it's struggling. It's mulling extreme measures. Reports say a stimulus package is also being discussed. The plans are not final, though. But Beijing could push a range of measures. A dozen proposals are on the table, like tax breaks, more loans for small businesses, and lowering the cost of mortgages to boost real estate. China's central bank is taking action too. Today, they slashed borrowing costs. More decisions will be taken in the coming days, but experts are skeptical. They compare the stimulus packages to antibiotics. They might reduce the symptoms, but they'll not treat the underlying issues. What the Chinese economy needs at this point is a surgery. It cannot be fixed with high-profile photo ops.